As someone who has advocated on behalf of men and boys for over 30 years now, I've long talked about how politicians on both sides love to demonize men. Oh, they do it differently, they say things differently, but the message is the same. Men are disposable. Men are to blame. Men are the convenient scapegoats for every single problem in the country. And we're seeing it play out again right now with the so-called budget battle that's going on in Congress, or as I like to call it, the feminist funding program. Now, to be fair, we all know the Democrats don't hide their disdain for men, even after men decided the last election and cost them the White House and Congress. They still make no bones about being for women's rights and only women's rights. And honestly, credit where it's due. I can at least respect them for being honest about hating men. Sure, they call men toxic, they say men need to be controlled. They don't sugarcoat it at all. But at least they have the balls to stand up and say it out loud. But the Republican Party? Oh, they're worse. In fact, I'd argue far worse. Because they pretend to be pro-family while doing the exact same thing the Democrats are. Every election, they roll out the tired family values campaign like a bad sequel that nobody asked for. And this year's rerun comes courtesy of Speaker Mike Johnson, who recently went on the Sunday talk show circuit bragging that the new budget makes, quote, no big deal cuts to Medicaid. We're just trimming off the, and again I quote, able-bodied men and men without children. Once again, Republicans showing you exactly who they think is disposable. Because you see, those words weren't accidental. They were very carefully chosen. He didn't say able-bodied adults. He didn't say those men and women without children. No, he was very specific. He specifically said men. Which brings us to the obvious question no one's going to ask, which is, why only men? Why are they purposefully singling out men? What about the able-bodied women without children? Why do they get to keep their coverage, but the men lose theirs? Again, this wasn't some slip of the tongue. It was deliberate and calculated. It's a focus-grouped phrase designed to make it sound harmless by turning men, once again, into the bad guys. Because if they actually cared about fairness, actually cared about equality, he would have said able-bodied adults without children. But that's not what he said. He said men, because adults doesn't sound quite dramatic enough for TV. In reality, it's a shell game they've been playing for decades. They want you to think they're cutting off lazy, deadbeat men, but at the same time assure you that it's not the lazy, deadbeat women that are going to be affected. Because apparently, in their minds, they don't even exist. Remember, this is the same party that coined and promoted the phrase deadbeat dad, and then used it to ram through major child support reforms in the 1990s. Child support reforms that have broken and bankrupted millions of fathers and destroyed the lives of their children, all while incentivizing women to file for divorce the first chance they get. That's the game. That's the scam the GOP has been running for decades now. Oh, they talk the talk all day long about caring for men and family. But in every major bill, every single one, from mental health to domestic violence to child support, they've proven time and again they don't walk the walk. They fund and protect women's programs endlessly, while men's needs don't even make the list. Then they use us men as props. They paint us as undeserving, so nobody cares when the knife hits. It's pure hypocrisy. These are the same people who call themselves pro-family, yet have done more to destroy the family unit than anyone. Because apparently family doesn't include men. Unless, of course, it comes to us paying taxes, fighting and dying in wars we didn't create, or being useful idiots to blame for all of society's, and especially theirs, the politicians' failures. It's why now Republicans are bragging about cutting health care for men, while at the same time standing and lecturing us about how we need to step up and be strong fathers and accept our family responsibilities. Newsflash, you can't preach family values while gutting the very systems that keep men alive long enough to be fathers. And here's another part they're very careful not to mention. Women already have an entire safety net that men can't touch. There's WIC, the Women, Infants, and Children Program, which in name and in practice specifically excludes fathers. There are maternal health grants, but none for paternal health. There's the Violence Against Women Act, an act that has received tens of billions of dollars in funding over the years, yet which provides nothing, not a single cent earmarked for male victims. Where's the Violence Against Men Act? Oh, right. There isn't one and never has been. Because if a man gets abused, according to the Republicans and Democrats, he must have deserved it. For women, there are literally hundreds of programs at every level, federal, state, and local, that provide shelters, housing, childcare, job placement, and so on. All valuable, all needed to be sure. But when's the last time you saw men, infants, and children? Where's VAMA, the Violence Against Men Act? When's the last time you saw a politician from either side touting a program to help fathers deal with divorce or in losing access to their children as a result thereof? Exactly. Never. So when the GOP acts like cutting able-bodied men from Medicaid is no big deal, let's understand what they're really doing. They're not balancing the budget, they're balancing it on men's backs. And the worst part, they're doing it while pretending to care about men and to protect the American family. Yeah, okay. They're hypocrites and frauds. As I said, at least the Democrats are honest about their ignoring of men, about seeing them as disposable, unworthy, unneeded. But Republicans, they wrap it up in a Bible verse, slap a flag on it, and sell it as patriotism. They sell it as a man's duty to be sacrificed for the greater good of the very politicians that are holding them down. That is not pro-family. That is professional gaslighting. The fact of the matter is you can't build strong families while treating men like they're expendable. You can't claim moral leadership while cutting men out of health care and support networks because the optics play better with suburban moms. You can't beg men for votes, then turn around and vilify those same men the very next day. This is how both parties play us, how they see men as unworthy, unnecessary, not even human. It's a politically convenient way to simply erase men while pretending it's compassion. If either side truly believed in equality, if they actually believed in fairness and doing what's right, they'd stop using gendered language and call it what it is, which in this particular case is able-bodied adults. They'd admit the truth that they and the system they've created views men as disposable, something to be used up and tossed aside when they have nothing left to give. And it's both parties that profit from it. Gentlemen, it's time to stop letting them play us. It's time we stopped voting for slogans, stopped voting based on whether they have a D or R after their name. It's on us to start demanding accountability. It's on us to ask every candidate running one question. What are you doing for men, and why haven't you done anything up till now? And when they dodge, and believe me, they will, because I ask those very questions, we need to call them out for it. And when they're running for election or re-election, we need to make sure others know they don't care as well. Because until we stop accepting invisibility as normal, until we do hold them accountable, both parties will just keep selling family values while quietly writing men out of the family.